Hello everyone, I am Khushi Jhingan and today I am going to tell you about my IPMAT journey. I had commerce and math as my stream in 11th and 12th, and this video is essentially about how I did everything, how my journey was, how I prepared, what are the mistakes I made, and what are the things I could have improved on, what were my learnings, etc. So let's start. Okay, so I first heard about IPMAT when 12th grade was just beginning, and it seemed very interesting to me, but it wasn't something that I was sure of, right? It wasn't something that I was certain that, okay, this is what I want to do. It was just a very good option for me. And I had joined the 1 year coaching with one of the coaching institutes, and they provided overall coaching for all the entrances. So it wasn't like IPMAT specific or anything. So throughout the year, I didn't really have much time to focus on entrances because of boards and 12th grade and everything that goes on with 12th grade. You know, we have assignment submissions and projects and school exams, all of that. So throughout the year, I didn't really focus much on entrances. What I did was I attended the classes and I gave mocks. So all the mocks that were coming, I gave them. I even missed a couple of classes whenever school workload was a lot. And so basically, it wasn't like full-fledged preparation. Then in around February, we got to know that our boards have been delayed a lot and they will occur in May and June. So that is when I made up my mind that IPMAT is what I want to do. And I hadn't done anything much till then, like I mentioned. So I joined a crash course, which was very, very helpful for me because till my boards were happening, my boards started, I divided my time into two halves. So half the time I used to focus on CBSE, that is essentially the board preparation, and the other half I used to focus on entrances, that was the entrance exam preparation. So I used to attend classes, I used to do the handouts, exercises that were given, I used to give topic tests and the proper mock tests and all of that. So for around, this happened till like May, till my board started, and this was very helpful because it built a foundation for me, it built a base for me, and I got to know what IPMAT is all about, what the format is, how I have to attempt questions, what are the strategies I need to apply. I got to know what my weak points are, what my strengths are, and all of that. So what I noticed was that verbal was fairly simple and it's a scoring section. I had to work on my vocabulary in verbal because that is something I often struggled with. So, you get these vocabulary lists which you can look at. You can consciously read passages and find out words which you don't know. So that is everything I did for it. Then in quantitative quant section, I realized that I know the concepts, but I'm not able to finish the paper, right? I'm not able to even see all the questions. So I realized I really need to work on my speed, and that is what I did. I started, with as in, suppose there are 40 questions in the section. So I started with saying, okay, let me first finish these 40 questions in 1 hour. Then I reduced it to 50 minutes, then 40 minutes, and so on. So you get 40 minutes in the actual exam, right? And honestly, till the last minute, I was struggling with time management in the quant section. And but hopefully, like you can all see, it clearly worked out. So apart from that, this was it till boards. Then when my board started, I realized that I shouldn't completely let go of my entrances, because that way what will happen is that everything that I've done till now, it will all go to waste. So that is why even during my boards, I wasn't really studying for the exams, but what I was doing was that I was giving mocks. I was giving 1 or 2 mocks every week depending on how much time I had, which is pretty feasible, I think. And then I would analyze those mocks, see my mistakes, all of that. And apart from that, I continuously did my vocabulary that I was working on, and I used to read the newspaper. These were the things that I did during the board exams. So now, once the boards ended, we just had about 20 days till the IPMAT Indoor exam. and around 18 days till the IPMAT Rohtak exam. So I realized that the time is very less and there are no times for party breaks after boards. So then the very next day after my boards, I started studying full on for IPMAT, completely focused on IPMAT, and this is the time I made the most progress in, and I think it was very, very important that I gave this time in, because this was all I had, right? In most years people got like 2 months to prepare for the exam after boards, but because our boards were delayed so much, we just had about 20-25 days to prepare for it. So what I did during these days was I used to have coaching at 7:30 in the morning, so I had to wake up around 5:36. I used to go to coaching. I used to come back around 12:30. Then around 1 o'clock I used to sit. I used to give a mock till 3 o'clock. Then I used to have lunch. Then after that I used to pick one topic which was either discussed in class or something I found difficult in the mock, and I studied that topic. I went through the concepts, I practiced questions, I did handouts, everything in that topic. So I used to do 2 subjects a day. So I used to do quant and verbal on one day, and I used to do LR and GK on the next day. This is how I did it, since IPMAT Rohtak also has a logical reasoning section, and lots of other entrances exams have a GK section. But after a while, I stopped doing LR and GK also that much, because it turned out that I could do it pretty easily, and for IPMAT the most important thing was quant and English, and soon I started focusing entirely on quant and English. I hadn't really done anything much before that, so those few days were all I had. So I used to study like 12 hours a day, and it was really hard for me, because I could see all my friends having fun and going out, knowing exactly where they were going, and I felt really left out in that space. But then I knew this would be worth it at the end of the day, and it surely was worth it. So coming to the books that I used the books provided by the coaching institutes. Apart from that, I had R.S. Agarwal Verbal Reasoning and Quantitative Aptitude, which are also great books with lots of practice questions. The concepts are explained very well, so if you want, you can surely go and refer to them. I think the main thing that helped me in these entrances was practice and consistency. So all these exams, the syllabus which is there is something you've all done before. So I knew the concepts as it is, but the questions are framed in a very different way, very different from what CBSE questions are. So that is why I had to work on applying those concepts and making sure that every single thing which I'm doing, I know why I am doing it. And that's also how I analyzed the mock. So once I gave a mock, it was 2 hours long. Then it took me at least 2-3 hours more to analyze it. So I used to see not only what I did wrong, but also what I did right. I used to look at all the questions, and when you give these mocks, they have timestamps next to them as to how much time you took on each question. And time, like I said, is a very, very essential factor in IPMAT. So I used to look at the questions on which I've spent a lot more time than I should have, and then I see if there's a shorter method of doing it, or where I did wrong, or where I got stuck that it took me so long to do it. So these were all the things I did. I also did some past year papers of IPMAT Indoor, and IPMAT Rohtak just had 2 past year papers, so I did those, and IPMAT Indoor I did plenty of past year papers. So just to understand what kind of questions are asked, the difficulty level of the questions, and where I would stand if I gave that exam and all of that. So slowly and steadily my score did improve from, say, I in the beginning I could hardly do 6-7 questions in the quant MCQ section correctly, and I had many wrong, and there were like 10 questions which I couldn't even see. It was a mess. So but then slowly I made my way forward to getting 20-25 questions right, and it finally started working out. So the exam which we prepared for IPMAT Indoor was supposed to be of 400 marks, and that's what we were all preparing for. But on the actual exam day, there were some changes in the exam pattern, and it turned out that they reduced the number of quant questions and they increased the number of verbal questions, and the overall exam came out of 360. So this actually worked as an advantage for me, because I had a problem in time management, and since they reduced the number of quant questions and the time remained the same, I had more time to do those questions, and I performed way better than I actually thought I would. And verbal, surprisingly, they didn't ask any vocabulary questions in the actual test, but every year they did, and I don't know, for some reason it just didn't happen for us. And again, that was a very big plus point for me, because I also struggled with the direct vocab questions. So that is why my exam actually went better than I expected it to go. And I think it was a bit of luck and a lot more of my hard work. So I cleared all the cutoffs in IPM Indoor, and I got into the PI round. So now coming to the PI round of IPMAT Indoor, it did not go well at all for me, because the interviewers, they just asked me academic questions one after the other. They were just shooting questions, and I didn't even have time to recover from what they'd asked previously. And honestly, they didn't seem very interested in interviewing me. I think maybe my score wasn't high enough for Indore. I don't know. And there were like many questions which they asked, many academic questions which they asked, which I had no idea about, which I'd never heard before. And I think there were a couple of those questions, so the interview wasn't very I would say appealing to them. So it didn't go as well as I thought it would. And so I did not get into IPM Indoor. My score, by the way, was 224 on 360. And so yeah, that was it. Then when it came to IIM Ranchi, I decided that now I have to get in here. And so for the interview preparation, I full-fledged went into the preparation the day I got my interview call. And I was pretty certain that I'd get the call. So I'd started preparing beforehand only. And I also took the help of Sahil and Sukriti and Kudostudy to help me prepare for the interview. They took a bunch of mock interviews for me, and they held other sessions on things that we do's and don'ts during interviews, the basic guideline, how to dress up, how to answer, what to say, what not to say, and I think it was so helpful for me. So what happened in the actual interview was that I had two panelists. One of them was extremely sweet, and the other seemed a little strict. So he was kind of cross-questioning everything that I was saying. They questioned me on almost all parameters. They asked me to introduce myself, and they went on to ask me about my interests, my hobbies. Although they didn't stress much on my extracurriculars, which I did expect them to do, but they didn't do that. Then they asked me a bunch of academic questions, and after that, my whole interview was based on why I want to do IPM and why I want to get into IIM Ranchi. So I think almost more than half my interview was just that. And I had prepared pretty well for those questions, and even Sahil and Sukriti had guided me a lot on what to do, what to say in those questions. So I think that's why I could do pretty well in the interview, and by the end of it they were all smiling, so I could tell that my interview has gone pretty well. And so I got into IIM Ranchi. So when I got into IIM Ranchi, I was already enrolled in a private university, because the admission process was delayed so much and I had to take admission somewhere. I had also gotten into IIM Jammu and IIM Bodhgaya, but I did not go there. They are great places though. So when I was very happy in the university I was in, and I was kind of skeptical about going to Ranchi as a city. So I'm from Gurgaon, and Gurgaon and Ranchi are poles apart. So I was very skeptical of whether I would be able to adjust there, whether I would like the place. So I actually went and visited the place with my father for a day. It was just a day trip, and I met all my seniors. I saw the new campus, I saw the old campus, the Khelgaon area, all of it. And once I saw everything, I realized that I had to be there. Just the people, the vibe, all of it felt so perfect to me. And so yes, here I am, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe and share. Also click on the link in the description box below to join the Telegram group. It'll be really helpful, as Sahil and Sukriti will give you constant updates and tips on how you can make your IPMAT journey successful. Thank you.